Most games these days tell their story through cutscenes. Some of them use systems like Shadow of Mordor or most of TellTale Games. Some through descriptions of in-game items like Dark Souls. And then there's Celeste, a tough-as-nails platformer made by this bloke, Matt Thorson, who originally created a prototype in 4 days during a game jam with Pico 8. It does a stellar job as a platformer, evoking a keen sense of challenge both in gameplay and story. This game is challenging, like incredibly hard. Don't trust its cute pixel art. I'm Vamsy, and in this video I'll show you how Celeste and its level design tell its story. Let's start with Madeline, the protagonist who wants to climb a mountain and suffers from depression and panic attacks. She doesn't know why she wants to climb it, but she knows that she needs to conquer her inner demons and the mountain. Like any platformer, you have the jump, climb, and something that really stands out is the dash, which is a little instant burst of speed which Madeline can perform in 8 different directions. Most of the game is built around this mechanic, where you navigate and land to recharge it. And by the way, this game is tight and intuitive in controls, like really good controls. Lead programmer Barry told Rock Paper Shotgun in an interview that a lot of our intentions with coding were based on what we think the player wants to do. Like the coyote jump, which is where the game gives you a brief window to jump even after you've run on an edge or a cliff. This doesn't make any logic and sense in my opinion, but in a game about movement, it works perfectly. It's about getting that game feel to make the player feel in control. Mountain climbing, as we all know, isn't the easiest thing to do. With that in mind, Madeline starts a journey where she encounters springboards, floating orbs, gusts of wind, spikes, fungal growths, breakable platforms, and what have you. This game progressively innovates on level design in abundance, and yes, there's hidden rooms, strawberries, B-side and C-side tapes to collect if you're a veteran player wanting more challenge. Now, Nintendo is usually known for their excellent level design in their Mario games, but they don't necessarily tell a story themselves. A good level design is supposed to immerse the players with established mechanics to have an enjoyable gameplay experience and progress the story further by involving the player in the process. Celeste is designed with the story in mind as a whole, and story beats with moments that take place in individual levels. Other games like Inside or Limbo have random themes, but in Celeste, because she's climbing the titular mountain, each level is designed to make the player feel and experience her emotion as they progress. In the Forsaken City, you're told both by an NPC and a tombstone about how the mountain climbing is not for the weak and she's not ready for it just yet. Just like how Dark Souls has a stigma surrounding it, but you feel powerful when you kill your first boss. Unlike Dark Souls, Celeste is accessible to every player so that they can tweak and tune it to enjoy the game. You can have unlimited dash and stamina. If you want to quickly finish the game, you can turn on invincibility, and there's no game over or extra lives in Celeste, as it would only drive players against the wall. And it respects their time. This states its intended experience clearly so as to not alienate players. As I went through the level in more challenging platform sections, I felt the same way after I killed my first boss in Bloodborne. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. The story in this game is about Madeline getting anxious about not being able to climb the mountain and yet be determined, both of which the player feels as they play through each level. In Celestial Resort, Mr. Oshiro is trying to trap you in an abandoned resort, while the naive Madeline is gullible enough to try and help him by cleaning the resort. But she does so with a clear goal to reach the top of the mountain. Oshiro becomes more desperate to try and make her stay. She snaps at him at the end of the level, which will resonate with the player because you're the one who's doing the cleaning. And you wonder, what am I going to get out of this? When it doesn't, she snaps. Anyway, the level that stuck out to me was the Old Side, with its surreal psychedelic level design and pacing. This trippy level is Madeline's dream, which starts with some exploration as we perceive and learn the level. So as we learn a new mechanic of the floating cube that lets you zap to the other side, and how its development, we also progress through the story as Madeline is overcome with fear of her dark self. And just like most people, when confronted with fear, she starts to run away from her problems, which is represented in the chase. Which nicely adds tension to the level and twists the floating cube on its head with time limit, and also stressing out the player just as how Madeline feels. As we finish the level, we find out she's been dreaming the whole time, and we reflect on the story as we progress through the level with no threat of death, like the spikes or pitfalls. It uses some new mechanics, develops it by giving power to the player, and then takes it away and then pressures them with exhilarating chase, and then finally giving them some time to breathe as we platform with no obstacles towards the end of the level. Now this level goes through a rollercoaster of emotions and has a narrative beat, making the player understand the underlying story or the feeling within its design. And of course, excellent soundtrack, which by the way has a dreamlike quality in the beginning, and ramps up during the chase, and cools down to a soothing tempo as we finish the level. All of these game design choices in my books is what makes for a riveting video game. Just like in my previous video, Hellblade was designed around a theme, where senua psychosis is turned into game mechanics. There's plenty of games out there that have environmental storytelling, or like in Celeste's case, through level design. Celeste's challenge and gameplay are the story, and it makes you feel what Madeline feels and goes through with music and level design. And it all ties back to Matt Thorson's love of rock climbing. Hey there, if you like my content, do subscribe to support my channel, and like the video cause it makes the video look good. Thanks for watching, and let me know what your favourite level in Celeste was and why in the comment section below.